Hey, welcome back. This is the second video in this project. I started a new Nuxt project. In the first video, I set up the project and wrote my first test. And then I committed the code and stopped the video. I must apologize for the video quality. I was trying something new, a new video tool, and I thought it would help, but it was grainy and low resolution. I hope I've solved that. Now I'm using OBS Studio. Let's get into it. In this video, I want to tell you a little bit of my habit. So I have this habit of creating a to-do file in my projects. And what I normally just put it at the root level. I call it to-do markdown, and then I can keep track of stuff that I need to do. So what I want to do in this build would be improve the setup of vitest for Nuxt environments. I've learned a little bit about that, and I think that's a good idea. And we'll probably stop the video at that point, and then I'll follow up with a future video. I also would like to install a prettier config and a linter. So these are things I do very early on. You know, when I create a new project, I set up a test framework. I write a new test, write a first test, and I want to make sure that my test framework works and that the build is working. Those are done. So that one's done, and I'll move these up here into the to-do. And here we can do a little organization. I'll say this one's in progress, and we're going to move this here. So we're improving the setup of vitest for Nuxt environments, and the reason I'm doing that is because I understand. There we go. Get started. Testing. I did this in the last video. However, I was reading carefully about the Nuxt runtime environment, and I followed this naming convention. But notice this line. So apparently, to tell your system that you want to run the tests within the Nuxt environment, you have to include this line at the top of your files, or we can define it globally. And that has an interesting benefit. Sorry for doing that. That has an added benefit, which is that then if you want to change your environment and not use Nuxt, but use Node, for example, maybe we're just testing backend API stuff, we could define that here and override the default environment. So let's set that up and make sure that our test still runs and works properly. So to do that, I'm going to say, so p test. So p is my alias for pnpm, and now we're running the test suite and my first test passes. Let's open that test file, and let's also open our vitest.config file. Now, notice that this line is at the top. Obviously, my test is so simple that I'm not actually using Nuxt in a complex way. So I know that if I delete this line, my test still passes. And if I enable this object here, and then the environment is defined as Nuxt, everything still passes. And notice that vitest restarted due to a config change. Thank you very much for doing that automatically. And there we go. The test still passes. Later on, I can see that this might be useful, that we could create options for, as we see here, overrides, runtime environments, root directories, etc. I do notice that Happy DOM is the default. You know what? I could be specific about that. I am using the Happy DOM currently, but let's see what it looks like if I were to describe that explicitly. Happy DOM. Oh, look we've got all kinds of things going badly here. I think it's because I've gotten there we go. The test is passing. Let's commit this code. I'm going to clean that up a bit before I commit. And then you see I need to get prettier involved and a linter pretty soon, because I've got spaces and tabs mixed up in here, and I'd like to be able to format that automatically. So let's do that next. But in this video, we'll say we modified vitest environment setup for Nuxt. Commit, send that up to GitHub, and thanks for watching.